Howdy folks, today's going to be a shaving cream. Got it right side up? Yeah, it's Omega. This is going to be a menthol / eucalyptus type scent. This one here of shaving creams, I would say this one here is definitely more on the stronger scented type shaving cream. Got the almond block, no rubber band. Still got a little bit left of the unscented witch hazel that's methylated. And going to follow up with wet the face aftershave balm that's methylated. Off camera, we're going to be using the Shaven Sailor beard oil, and got it whipped over here in the Sarabachi bowl. Got a little bit whipped up here using the Yaqi brush. It's whipped up on the wet side. I definitely it's kind of odd sometimes how my nose works. Sometimes I pick up the menthol, not the eucalyptus. This time I smell the eucalyptus. In the last video I mentioned this time, so I'm going to start with this. I mentioned this shaver and I forgot to show it at the end of the video. This one here, I haven't used it very much, and there's a you can kind of tell that this handle is different. It's longer, slender, and one of the things that I find that's quite a bit different, if you can tell, there's like little divots right along the face. That's quite a bit different than most of the other models. I'm not real sure what that's all about. And on the end of the handle, if you can see that, I'd have to check some advertisements to see if they mention what that's all about. I don't know if at some point in time that was supposed to be a place for a hook to where you hang it. I'm not sure what that's all about. Anyway, this one's next up. I'm going to start shaving with it on Monday. So in other words, today is the last day for this shaver here. You can see there's a big difference in the handle design. I like this handle design. This works well for me. So this one here, it's long. It's definitely for those that's got bigger hands, it probably works a lot better, as well as the ladies that needs a little bit more of a reach. I could understand it. For me, it'll take a little bit more to get used to, because in other words, putting your little finger here, you can still do it that way, it just feels a little bit different, that's all. It'll take a little bit to get used to it. And Alex mentioned, what was it, May 27th, I think it was. It's when I started using the Cube. This is what's left of it, so I've definitely got my money's worth out of the Cube. Go ahead and get started with this. I've put a hot towel to the face already this morning. Move that out of the way before I knock over my shaving cream. When it comes to menthol shaving cream, yeah, this one here so far, I have to say this one here is my favorite. It does a great job. I mean, as it goes for scent wise, it is really good. You definitely pick up that menthol scent. And as it goes for longevity of Preshave, I try to remember how, it's either $4.99, $5.99 is what I paid for this, something along that price range. Definitely, you know, for the value, be kind of hard to beat. This is, I definitely got my money's worth out of this. Now, whether do you notice the difference when you use it? It's your mileage may vary, because I know some days I notice it, some days I don't. I think sometimes it depends on the soap, sometimes it depends on the shaver. And what I mean by the shaver, I think the more aggressive shaver I want, I think I notice it the most as it goes when it comes to shavers. Because slickness, glide, that sort of thing. Little added extra protection, if you will. When it comes to soaps, I think sometimes that little extra, once again, glide. Sometimes some soaps might be need a little extra boost. Or it might be just the fact that maybe I just didn't get it just the way that it needed to be done. Well, I guess you might say operator error. Very well possible. It happens. I mean, face it, you know, when you You know, Monday through Friday, I'm getting up at 4 in the morning. You know, some days, you know, you can't always have your A game. Some days, you know, you come in and you're just, you know, not quite with it. Which kind of brings up two different things. Bring up the shorter conversation. Football yesterday was Saturday. And for high school, Broken Arrow, they won their game. But boy, did they string it along. Mercy sakes. Broken Arrow's offense, very, you know, high scoring, very dominating. They scored a whole 10 points yesterday. 10 points. And no, they didn't do it in the first half. They did it late in the second half. And the game went all the way down to the closing moments of the game. And then we were playing at Wausau, which is a town just north of us. And definitely, you know, Wausau, you know, you have to give them credit that the game did not go as most anticipated. In other words, they most anticipated that this game was going to go Broken Arrow's way, and you know, definitely not with this score of 10-7. It was not going to go this way. That the score was going to be much different. Owasso played a very good game. I mean, you know, you have, man, they played a much better game than what was expected. It was what parts I got to listen to it on the radio. It was on the edge of your seat type game. So Broken Arrow, they go to the final game, to the championship game, and that's in 2 weeks. Down to the end of the month is when the game's going to be played. And then, of course, you know, you got your college games. So if you followed Ohio State, it's like Maryland darn near pulled it off. Unfortunately, of course, they didn't. I'm not an Ohio State team. No. It's one of those, you know, teams that, you know, you love to hate, that sort of thing. So if you're a Ohio State fan, I understand. It's kind of like, you know, there's some teams, you know, everybody loves to hate and that sort of thing, and Ohio State's just one of those for me. It's kind of like if you're an OU fan, then it's Texas, you know, Longhorns, you know, that sort of thing. And anyway, so it's kind of fun kind of keeping track of some of the games yesterday. So it's not very often that I pick a day that everything else takes a back seat. Almost everything. Excuse me. Getting a frog in my throat. Almost everything. I was taking care of a few other things yesterday, but I did spend quite a bit of time, you know, taking time out to watch some of the football games and watching teams lose and play rather poorly when they should have been, you know, just crushing other teams, and you know, so on and so forth. But had a good day watching, you know, college football and keeping up with teams and stuff like that. Haven't been able to do that since the beginning of the college season, which is, you know, it's coming to a close. If you, I mean, really, I mean, we're coming up on Thanksgiving here pretty quick. Christmas will be here, and the next thing you know, college football season, it'll be over. So, got to squeeze it in sometime or another. We'll start with the first pass. And by the way, this will be the third use on this blade, Personna. Which been trying to decide when it comes to DE shavers. Not everybody can shave with these, which I understand. My wife using Google Home set the timer for, she's fixing breakfast this morning. I went out last night and picked up a few things for her to fix breakfast. She's so excited about it. Anyway, trying to line up my DE shavers. Some shavers, you know, some people can shave with, you know, like some people can't shave with these. Some DE shavers are the same way. Some of them are just too aggressive for some folks. Just can't seem to get a good shave with them, which I understand. But sometimes that's all the fun in the journey, is you know, experimenting with the different shavers that are out there, finding that shaver that just works well for you. And sometimes You may start out with one, doesn't work well for you, for whatever the reason. You set it to the side, you wait a while, go back and revisit it, and then all of a sudden it just works wonderfully for you. It's kind of odd how that works for you. It's either because your whiskers changed over time, maybe your technique improved, lathering, pre-shave, routine, whatever the case might be. Used a different blade, who knows? That's kind of the beauty of going with the vintage shavers, because a lot of the vintage shavers, depending on what model you're looking at, if you're looking at a toggle, you're going to pay out the nose for it. But some of these older shavers, you know, you can pick them up. You know, they're not a beauty queen by any means, but you know, you can pick one up. It shaves. It doesn't look all that great, but it shaves. And if it doesn't quite, you know, meet your standards at the time, you set it off to the side. You're not out a whole lot of money. You go back and revisit it later on, and all of a sudden, you know, it works fantastic for you. Or you find out from the get-go that that $10, $15 you spent on that shaver, and it works wonderfully for you. And you got a fantastic shaver, you're not out a whole lot of money, and you may not need to spend any more than that. You're not looking for something that's bright and shiny, just something that's going to get the job done. You're looking at it from a different perspective in that it's a tool. That's all you're looking for, is just a tool, something to get the job done. In which case, for instance, something like this would be right in line for you. I mean, it's menthol. Not everybody particularly cares for menthol, but on the other hand, it's not everybody's favorite scent, but it gets the job done. The shaving cream is good. It gets the job done. My experience with this is that the post-shave feel is good. You can spend a lot more money and get a better post-shave feel. But is it worth that much more money? In my opinion, no. It works just fine. Derby shaving cream, yes. You can pick up a tube of that for a couple of bucks. You can hunt it down. You can pay more. You can pay twice as much more. You can pay $4 or more for a tube of Derby shaving cream. But for $2, it's a great value. It gets the job done. It kind of falls in line of Williams mug soap. Now, I don't have a problem lathering it now. I did when I first started. And that's because I was just learning how to lather, period. In other words, I was just new lathering, but once I learned how to lather, which I guess you might say that was not realizing at the time, I started at a good point. I was learning how to lather, and I was learning how to lather with Williams. That was a good place to start, and I didn't even realize it at the time. But afterwards, once I figured it out, I really learned that, you know, appreciated Williams so much more. Once I figured out how to lather with Williams, lathering with anything else was just a snap, not a problem. And then realizing that other folks were having problems lathering with Williams, well, I learned on Williams, so everything else after that was easy. And I realized that, you know, I did myself a big favor, if you will, by starting out on Williams. I like Williams. I like the scent of Williams. And Arco. Arco, I like Arco. I guess you might say sometimes my nose is a little odd, isn't it? I guess it's the, to a degree, those scents are, it brings back those days, the classic scents, the stuff that I remember when I was a kid. when I was growing up, there wasn't a whole lot in the way of what I remember as a cologne scent. In other words, you are talking about Old Spice, Aqua Velva, High Karate. Those were the scents. That's what I do remember. That is what was readily available. The barbershop scents, if you will. I was watching the episode of I Lather Be Shaving. It was kind of funny. watching them talk about single edge shavers. And they were going through the ones they have, like, yeah, I got that one, I got that one, and the cases. I don't remember exactly the name of who owns Personna nowadays, but it's not Edgewell. It's changed since then. Accutech, I think it is, or something of the sort. I'd have to look it up again. It's somebody different nowadays. I like watching the advertisements they send to me. I subscribe to their emails that they send. That's how I kind of halfway keep track of what they're making in the way of medical supplies, in the way of razor blades. Because sometimes I wonder if there's a way to modify one of their blades. If I can start dialing in the thickness and see if there's a way that I can get one of their blades and tweak it just enough to fit one of the Ender's speed razors. If I could ever figure out how to tweak one of those blades, it'd be great to use one of those shavers again. Because if there was ever a shaver that was made just the way it's shaped, it just, just like it's just perfect. Sure, one of the reasons why was, sure, the blades weren't. I know that the first time I shaved with that blade, oh, it was terrible. Talking about tuggy, tuggy, tuggy. Yeah, it was not sharp. I can only assume that might have been part of the reason why it didn't do so well. The blade was probably not the sharpest in the world. Besides the fact that was the only place you could get a blade for that shaver. Variety is a good thing. Unless you can make it in such a way like Kai and Feather, even though yes they make shavers where they have blades that are made for their shavers, but they offer a variety of different ones that are coated. The edges are different, so on and so forth. The blades are different thicknesses in order to try to meet different people needs, if you will. This shaving cream sure does feel good on my face. Throughout my whole shave, in other words, I feel this cooling effect the whole time. So if you did watch any college football, I'd have to say, if you, how can you say, wasn't too emotionally involved with all the games, I just enjoy watching the good games. They were very close games. They kind of catch you on the edge of your seat, whether one team, I was rooting for one team or the other. It's just good, close games all the way down to the end. Yesterday was a fun day. Also clean carpet, so that's what I was doing. Watching the football games while I was cleaning the carpet in the living room. Puppies were throwing a fit because they were walled off from the living room. little bit of feedback on the against screen pass. It's pretty much picking up what's left over, which isn't much. Forecast so far, they were saying that we're going to get some rain on Thanksgiving, and now it looks like they're forecasting Black Friday rain on it. On Black Friday, 40% so far, so that's forecasting it out that far out in advance. Who knows, it may get pushed off to Friday, and that 40% might be at nighttime anyway. At one point in time they were saying that we're going to get the freezing drizzle today, and now for us it's out of the forecast. It's a little damp outside, but not freezing or anything like that. Something to look at. There was one that came, it was on eBay in a case, looked to be in pretty good shape. This is all really nice, bright gold, shiny. Case looked to be in pretty good shape. I think it was right around $25.99 it sold. If you look on eBay, patient, just keep on checking eBay. You'll find some pretty good shavers in a case for about that going price. You can find them for a lot more than that, and it just depends on. When I look at them, when they're wanting 50 bucks for them, I look at them, to be, I don't know. In my eyes, I don't think they're worth $50 unless they're in just, just unbelievably unused condition. But lightly used, since these are like, not necessarily dime a dozen, but they're usually pretty plentiful. You can find them in pretty decent condition. You can find these sometimes in this kind of condition right around the $10–15 mark, shipped. Like I say, this is not in the best of shape, but hey, it shaves just fine. Handles in pretty good condition. There's a spot right there. You can tell it's starting to corrode just a bit. Not the easiest to keep clean, but it shaves just fine. It's great. I enjoy shaving with it. It's a lot of fun. Definitely good for a day that you're just needing to get a quick, easy going shave, smooth, comfortable. Don't need to focus too much on the shave itself. Very, how can you say, reminiscent of a DE shave, like a Gillette Tech or something along those lines. It's a smooth, comfortable shaver. Not aggressive. At least not for me. I understand for some folks it would be, but you kind of understand what I'm saying. It's a good shaver. Face feels really good. And this shaving cream it does feel creamy. My face feels so smooth. It is one of these shavers I could shave with all week. Not have irritation, weepers. Not feeling anywhere where there's I guess you might say some signs where the Allen block is going to be screaming at me. Now I will say, when it comes to DEs, I'll be bringing in the Parthenon. Yeah, I will. I will bring it in. It will be, of course, through the month of December, it will be the. How can you say? One day, each day will be a different shaver, and I will shave one day with that one. I haven't decided whether I'm going to shave that one there. Will I change the settings on it? Because it is such an aggressive shaver. What I might do is I may just do it on the lowest settings. I got a little bit of stinging right there. I will shave with it though. I do like the shaver. I just don't think it's for everybody. It's kind of like with the injectors, the single edge shavers. These shavers aren't for everybody because basically because of the blades. And that shaver is not for everybody, the Parthenon, because it is such an aggressive shaver. But I do like it in that if you're looking for an aggressive shaver, it's definitely up your alley. It's a good one for you if you're looking for an aggressive shaver and it's adjustable. But thinking the week of DE shaves, in other words, there'll be a week of adjustable shavers, and I'll definitely will have that one in there. So if you're looking for an aggressive adjustable shaver, I'll have that one in there. Hopefully I'll have in other words, it won't be, the focus won't of course be the soaps, it'll be the DE shavers, and hopefully that whole month will be interesting. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the whole month of videos. I might, because I'm thinking something's going to suffer along the way. In other words, I usually have links down below, and I don't know that a whole month of all this is, something's going to suffer. I'll have to work something out. Anyway, hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe and smooth shaves to you.